As you saw on the title there, it's many firsts. I wonder what that could mean. First quote is from Marian Anderson, and there's going to be some more about her shortly. She said, I have a great belief in the future of my people and my country. I have a great belief in the future of my people and my country. And Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook on page 277 says, success and happiness are ours when we deal with absoluteness. This is the attitude we should have. What we need to know is the truth. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by speaking what we believe to be truth into the universal mind, into the mind of God. And we know that when we pray in absolute terms into the mind of God, that wonderful things happen. Marian. And then Reverend Andriette says, I'm often in awe of Black folks born at the turn of the 20th century who achieved great success and left a compelling story. She says, I marvel at how they persevered, and thrived under oppressive racial segregation and animus mind. I'm awestruck by Marian Anderson, born in 1897. I can only imagine that the full fabric of her life experiences included being the first Black and or woman to, and then there's a list here, receive a scholarship from the National Association of Negro Musicians, signed with RCA Victor Recording Company and performed solo with the New York Philharmonic, performed at the White House in 1936, and solo at the Lincoln Memorial. More about that in a minute. Perform on the main stage of the Metropolitan Opera and sing at the inaugurations of Dwight D. Eisenhower and John F. Kennedy. And finally, be named a Goodwill Ambassador for the U.S. State Department, I beg your pardon, and a delegate to the United Nations. That's pretty serious accomplishments there. She goes on to say, it seems that she did it all. She performed at the Lincoln Memorial. Why? Because the Daughters of the American Revolution denied Howard University's request to hold her concert at Constitution Hall. Eleanor Roosevelt, a Daughters of the American Revolution member, resigned in protest and formed a committee to find a new venue. On Easter Sunday, April 9th, 1939, on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, Interior Secretary Harold Ickes introduced Anderson saying, quote, genius draws no color lines, unquote. This 25-minute concert is often viewed as a defining moment of the civil rights movement. Amazingly, by the time of her death in 1993, she had performed at every major concert hall in America. And I would say that is some achievement, wouldn't you? And actually, I've seen documentaries about Marian Anderson on TV, and it's quite impressive. And I can't get into the mindset of somebody who would deny a major, well-known performer, probably an international performer by this stage, the opportunity to actually sing at a venue at the request of a university. I just don't understand it. Why they wouldn't let her sing at Constitution Hall, I don't know. But then again, it's not for me to get into their minds. That was almost a century ago, so I just don't know. But I do know this, that Eleanor Roosevelt set a great example when she said, in effect, by her actions, she said, this is not acceptable. And she went out to find a new venue. I don't know what her actual words were about it, but her actions spoke for themselves. And that's what Jesus always tells us to do. And if you're allergic to the word Jesus or God, just bear with me. You can substitute whatever you want. But Jesus was always telling people that it's by their actions that you would know them. It's not by what comes out of their mouth, it's by what they do. Not just what they say, but it's also what they do. Do they put their money, quote unquote, where their mouth is? And certainly Eleanor Roosevelt did that and sets a great example for the rest of us to follow. As I've said, for this month, I am not making many comments. I may have guests come on the program later in the month. We're not quite halfway through. Since this is February, it's a short month, but I actually may bring people on to talk about some of the readings. If I find a reading that's suitable for a discussion, and maybe all of them kind of are, but if I find one that really works for discussion, then I'll bring it on. So once again, we are Creative Life Spiritual Center in Spring, Texas. We are an open spiritual community. We don't deny anybody the right to be there. We don't judge them. We have people from all faiths, all walks of life. We have people across the political spectrum, and we just accept people as they are. But I think the main message for me today and for you today is this. It's from Eleanor Roosevelt saying, you know, put your money where your mouth is. And also to follow the example, of people like Marian Anderson, who actually had the guts to get out of their comfort zones. And it must have been incredibly uncomfortable for her to get up in front of people, some of whom probably weren't really receptive to her being there as a Black person. That's the way history happened. So my only request to all of us is be open to what really happened in history and be supportive of everyone who's trying to make sure that we all have an equal opportunity, not just in this country, but around the world. Whatever your nationality is, whatever your race is, whatever your religion is, you deserve the right to have an equal opportunity, providing that your motives are supportive of the general good. Every day we're given an affirmation. Today it's in 3 parts. I'm receptive, I trust humanity, and I surrender to the absolute. Or if you prefer, like I do, you could say God. I'm receptive, I trust in humanity, and I surrender to God. Well, need you ask for any more? And that's my reading for today. If you need to reach us, you can send an email to info@creativelife.org. Info@creativelife.org. If you want to get our weekly email, same thing, send it there. And of course, we go to our Facebook page. We always appreciate donations. So with that, I'm going to sign off until tomorrow, and I'm going to end this stream.